And what is up, everyone? It is OJ over here from PlayerEssence.com. And finally, after 10 years of putting this off, we have the PE Fancast number 3 with Jon Turner here. And just to break down what the PE Fancast is for all the new subscribers, because I have had quite a bit of subscribers since the last Fancast. What this is about is that this is where a fan or just a regular user, I guess, not someone that does YouTube or anybody that I partner with, can come on, talk about topics that they want to talk about, and I will talk about that with them. So it's really driven by the community. You guys can answer all of the questions. A lot of it is going to be Q&A. You can ask Jon questions. You can ask myself questions. So it's really just more of something that I wanted to put together as a community event to get the users more involved. And Jon was more than happy to be the person to want to do this. Really, nobody else wants to do this other than Jon. So it's good to have Jon in. But Jon's the thing about Jon is that like he floats the line. He's more of a user than he is a content creator, because he does do some content, but then again, he's really more of just like a user that reacts to stuff like a regular commenter. So it works well because he has the skills of someone who can talk like a content creator, but then again, he also has the idea mindset of just a regular user, which is perfect for this type of podcast. Otherwise, it would be like my other podcast that I have, like with Mizza T, people who are actually content creators, you know, more so than necessarily just regular users. So it works out well. So Jon, what's up, dude?
Hello, everyone. Long time no see. Although it's been more like 10 months instead of 10 years, but still, you get the idea.
Yeah, my exaggeration is quite on point this morning. So
it's quite all right.
It's quite on point. You know, I got a good night's of sleep, and I'm feeling really good. And I even woke up to some better news. So we were talking about this before this started up, which I'm actually happy that we actually started up on time, which I never do. But today we actually started up on time, so that's good. And I want to thank Jon for. I mean, I gave him a really late invite, so thank you, dude, for being pretty prompt and getting right on that to join the podcast. So
no problem. I was waiting for it. I was eager to start it again.
Okay, but Jon, there's a guy that goes by Super Metal Dave. Have you ever heard of this character?
Yeah, I've been watching his videos lately. I'm really impressed at the video content he's putting out.
Have you heard of this fraud? Apparently he's a fraud. Have you heard of this fraud that's been talking about stuff about the Nintendo NX? And I'm joking, guys. I'm really being sarcastic.
Well, if he really is a fraud, then so be it. But so far, the videos that I've seen from him, he presents himself to be nothing but absolutely credible and very down to earth and honest about it. And that's what I really like about him. He's very down to earth. He's very honest and very reasonable. And he never acts like he's just making stuff up just for the heck of it. So I really got to applaud this guy.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. Well, actually, I'll talk about this after, because there's a lot of people. I want to say a lot, but there's people that like to say, well, he doesn't have a lot of YouTube subscribers. Why would anybody give him information?
Oh, yeah, I've been seeing stuff like that too.
I just want to ask you guys a question before we get into this news that he broke today. Why in the world would a big studio or a company give information to a massive YouTuber that has so many networks and is more willing to flap his big mouth than just a YouTuber or a person who can be trustworthy with information, that's down to earth, that presents his videos in a certain way and safeguards his information? I don't know why people think that you have to have 5 million YouTube subscribers in order to get inside information. I don't have 5 million subscribers, yet I go to E3. I don't have a ton of subscribers, yet there's information that I get. Why? I don't understand why people think that you have to be this massive YouTuber in order to get inside information, or you have to be some like IGN or something. If you give secret information to IGN or to Game Informer, chances are it will trace back to you, because those guys have big mouths and they will tell their other coworkers, and then a coworker will tell someone else that works in the industry. Then before you know it, every single major website is reporting on something because IGN said it. I mean, it makes me scratch my head sometimes that people think that you have to have this massive following in order to get some inside information.
No, yeah. there is a saying that sometimes less is more, and frankly, I feel that the fact that this guy is not anybody who likes to brag about his reputation or takes the
Mhm.
attitude, I'm right, you're wrong.
Mhm.
Anybody who has the gall to speak like that absolutely earns my respect from me, because I've had some people speak like that to me on some of the user comments over the last several months. Like, I won't mention this guy in particular, but he was telling me in a nasty tone of voice, I'm right and you're wrong. So you're wrong and you want to admit you're wrong. I can't stand those kind of people. It's very mean-spirited and disrespectful, and I never try to be disrespectful or rude or call anybody names at all. I like being around nice people. And
Mhm.
frankly, if this guy presents his content in the manner that I see him doing, why should I care if he has a lot of followers or not?
Exactly. And see, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand like people and like that's the thing that like makes me the most mad. I mean, like it's like, okay, if you're out there and you're presenting content in a good way, if you're out there and you can gain the trust of even just one developer, they will not mind telling you things. Like I told you guys well before the news broke as far as dev kits actually being sent out to multiple developers, not just Nintendo's in-house. I said that a while ago. What did I get? I get people calling me fraud. I get people calling me names, people telling me that I'm a nobody, I'm a nothing, I don't have enough subscribers, I don't have enough, my website isn't big enough. And then all of a sudden news breaks out, a few weeks later, oh yeah, developers are starting to get dev kits outside of just like Nintendo's, trusted ones. There are developers that are seeing like maybe SDK or information like that. And then all of a sudden, okay, well then what I said was right? Like,
yeah, well, I understand why some people would be skeptical about one thing, because there have been one too many cases where some reports have turned out to be false, and I can understand how they would be bitter about it. But if the guy in question has a lot of connections to the industry, then who am I to question his credibility? If he says he has connections to the industry, he has connections to the industry. Why should I question him?
I don't mind people being skeptical. I don't mind people saying, well, I call BS, but it's the personal attacks on the actual channel or on the actual, that's the thing that makes me upset. It's like, okay, if you want to say that I'm lying, okay, say that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I can't out my source. Otherwise, they're not going to trust me anymore, which is actually that's what happens with big websites. And the people who work for those websites, they say something and they out their source, and then that source does not trust them anymore. But anyway, like
Yeah,
I can understand that.
Yeah, personal attacks, I absolutely have zero patience for. I've had a lot of personal attacks, and
I've seen them.
yeah, I know. I really hate them with a capital H. But yeah, you're right. Let's move on.
Yeah, like I said, if you don't want to believe a rumor that I put up, that's fine. You don't have to believe a rumor. But please keep the you're a no name or you're a nobody or your website isn't, keep that trash. Yes, trash with a capital T. Keep that trash out of here, because that's just absolutely ridiculous, and that's just that's so freaking stupid. I can't stand when people say that. It just makes me mad when people say that, because it's dumb.
Likewise.
It's so dumb. You don't have to be. Oh God. Okay, whatever. I've repeated myself. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to move on to what Super Metal Dave said. So Super Metal Dave said that Nintendo NX is 100%. This is what he got from his source. 100% confirmed for 2016, and The Legend of Zelda NX, The Legend of Zelda is going to be a launch title with that, or no, I don't know if he actually said a launch title, but it's going to be a very close proximity, either a launch title or a little bit afterwards, maybe like a Super Smash Bros. Melee type situation where it launched like a month or two after the GameCube launched. So it could be one of those two situations, but it's definitely going to be a Twilight Princess type of thing, to where you have The Legend of Zelda on the Wii, on the previous generation Wii U, and you also have The Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo NX. So that is very similar to what Nintendo did with The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which they did on the Wii and they did on the GameCube, and the Wii version absolutely slaughtered the GameCube version. And the Wii version absolutely slaughtered the GameCube version in sales, despite not having anywhere near the install base.
Bravo, Nintendo, for making this move, if it's true. Bravo.
And I mean, it didn't have the install base at the very beginning. Obviously, the GameCube was near, 19, 20 million units sold, something like that. And the Wii was, I think it probably day one sold I think it sold over 1 million units day one or something like that. So
I know, that's something that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, so I mean, but the Twilight Princess on the Wii just absolutely slaughtered the GameCube version. So that could be a similar situation, despite the Wii U having. The funny thing is the Wii U will have a lead over the NX when it launches, but it's not that big of a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. When I hear people say they're going to drag the Wii U out for another year, get serious. That's not going to happen. Look at how the system has been selling.
Yeah. It's. I mean, they could drag it out for another year, I guess. But if they do, it's going to be a dead year. It's going to be like the Wii to the Wii U, where like 2012 was just dead for Wii. There was like literally nothing released outside of a few late games that were launched that people. I think when did Xenoblade was 2012, right?
I think
Xenoblade Chronicles. Or 2011.
Oh yeah, it was 2012 because if I remember last year, the year before that when they announced Xenoblade and Last Story from Exceed, and I was like, "Thank you."
After like begging and begging and begging and begging and
thank God we don't have this situation with Xenoblade X.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stupid release schedule by Nintendo when it comes to Xenoblade. In Japan, June 10th, 2010. In Europe, August 19th, 2011. In Australia, September 1st, 2011. In North America, April 6th, 2012. What kind of stupidity? Like, what?
Yeah.
2 years? 2 years? Are you kidding me? Oh, my goodness.
I think the real problem was that Nintendo got a little too carried away by the casual audience that they kind of like forgot that there were games that were very, very highly demanded, but they didn't sell on the same level as the casual gamers games. So I guess that's why they could be a little bit nervous. But as Gandalf would say, all we had to do is give them a little nudge out of the door.
I did not expect the Gandalf prop right there, so props to you there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, yeah, you're right about that. It's like, and then like when Nintendo starts making their excuses, like, oh well, it's not going to sell, dude. You sold 100 million Wiis. You sold how much software? Like, you need to take one for the team. Like when it comes to like Xenoblade, okay, if it doesn't make as much money, whatever. But like, you need to take one for the team on that one. Like the fact that you wait from August 11th to April 6th to just, I mean, it was already localized in Europe. Well, okay, whatever. That's the type of stuff you can do when you sell 100 million units and you have casuals buying everything. You can do that type of stuff to screw over the hardcore gamer, but it works so well with the Wii U. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's talk about this. JTurner, Zelda on the Nintendo NX. Like, oh, actually, I want to say some other things before we get into that. There's some other stuff that he did put. He actually gave some information on key Wii U releases for 2016. So I'll go over those too. So this is from his website, Nintengen. Super Metal Dev does own that website. So coming very soon, this is quotations from his print view of the Nintendo NX with Zelda Wii U. So a new Minecraft project featuring Nintendo IP characters.
Wow.
He says that it could be a new title or simply add-on content, which I think is just going to be skins. That might be what it is. That's what he's saying here. Could be skins, DLC for Minecraft Wii U Edition. I don't doubt that, considering Minecraft Wii U Edition is doing very, very well on the Wii U.
Very well. Even who knows how many years after it was first released on Xbox.
Yeah, I know exactly, which is good. And he says that Star Fox Zero is still on track. At least his source told him that it's still on track for April 22nd.
If you ask me, though, I think they should try to polish it up just a tad further. I don't want it to turn out to be disappointing.
Yeah. I think that's what they're doing right now. And that's why it initially got delayed. I mean, it didn't get delayed like by a month or like 2 months. It got delayed by like a half year almost.
What else? So what else did Super Metal Dave say?
He also said summer is going to be Mario and Sonic at the Rio Olympic Games for Wii U.
Predictable.
Mm-hmm. And then he said the second half of 2016 has the second wave of Nintendo Selects coming out. But Nintendo only has one announced new Wii U game releasing besides Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem and Zelda Wii U. So
when are we going to see that game, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem?
I don't know when we're going to see that, but this is the type of stuff that makes me kind of annoyed. It's like, okay, the game releases in Japan and then Nintendo goes radio silent on the game for North America. Like they go radio. I mean, it's like, the game's already out in Japan. Like people can watch the whole game being played, and Nintendo of America says nothing about the game. Like, why? I don't think that's cool. That's not cool with your fans. The game is already out in one region. Like, it's not like, okay, it's not out yet. It's already out in a region. And the fact that you're not talking about this game, when is it coming? When do people? I mean,
could it be that they're maybe working on the localization?
I mean, yeah, we already know that they're working on the localization, but the fact that they have not mentioned anything or not given at least just a release window or something to their fans. I mean, not everybody has money just to spend at any time. Some people have to budget their games, as far as what they're buying, earlier. So, I mean, sometimes you got to give your fans just a little bit of a heads up, and the fact that they're just not saying anything, especially with this whole NX cloud looming over everyone's head. I mean,
that's not good news.
Yeah, and it's the type of thing that Nintendo needs to be a little bit more cognizant of people's dollars, of people spending money. Sometimes they just kind of just drop things out of nowhere, and then people are like, oh, they scramble to try to buy stuff, So I mean, that's just one thing. I don't know. Super Metal Dave, even in the article, says start saving your money.
Oh boy,
Nintendo NX is coming 2016. So
wow.
That's what I mean. That's pretty much all the information that he said there. He does have some information on Nintendo 3DS. But he says that that's going to be for a different video. So what do you think about the Wii U's releases? And we got March 4th coming up. We got Zelda, Twilight Princess HD.
Oh, yeah, that game is definitely going to sell all right. I mean,
yeah.
I personally have to say that I'm not as wowed by the Twilight Princess high-definition remake as I was by Wind Waker, because with Wind Waker on GameCube and Wind Waker on Wii U, there was a huge night and day difference. I mean, the game just looks so much more polished and much more fully realized in the Wii U version. And whereas with Twilight Princess, to me, the differences feel very, very subtle, and they don't really stand out that much. It's only when I look at the comparison videos that I really do see the differences, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do see them. It doesn't really, but other than that, it doesn't really stand out that much to me. But hey, if people want to play this on Wii U, great.
The biggest problem for me is I don't think you're going to see that as much, because when you watch Twilight Princess on YouTube, when you see that game on YouTube, it looks a certain way. Then you see the HD version, and you're like, okay, there's not that much of a difference. But I think it's really more art style than anything. Twilight Princess has a realistic art style with a low polygon count. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD has a low polygon count, but it's artistic. It's the way that the colors and the vibrancy pops, and that's what makes it look like such a big difference, in my opinion.
What about Skyward Sword? How many is that a low polygon game too?
All Wii games are pretty much low polygon counts. I mean, they're all 480p. They're all that's just how the games are. But the thing about it is I should have gave you guys a warning. My daughter was going insane before this podcast. So yeah, and she's trying to get in right now. JTurner, talk about stuff while I go help my daughter out real quick. All right.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do. Now, as I mentioned, as far as the Wii U's release schedule is concerned, come on, guys. Do you really think this is a good recipe for a compelling lineup for 2016? Seriously, come on. The Wii U already had its big name. It's had its big shots fired. I mean, Mario Kart 8 was supposed to save the Wii U, gave it a boost, but then that was that. Super Smash Brothers, Wii U, great game, big sales. It did nothing. So, I really don't see this lineup really doing much to convince people that this is going to be a big deal to purchase Wii U. So I'm sorry, but to me, as far as I'm concerned, I think the Wii U's pretty much unloaded its big guns, and so I'd say it's time to roll out the NX while you still can, and don't let it suffer the same fate.
Yes, and the fate, and I am back. Fate has it that I am back, and I just bribed my daughter with candy to let me work. So let's see how long she remembers until she starts tripping again. But the good thing about this is that I don't have to worry about the damn neighbors anymore. As far as with my daughter yelling and screaming, she can yell and scream as loud as she wants, because these houses are pretty much brand new and they have
soundproof. Huh?
Yes, they are soundproof to the max.
That's cool.
There was a big old party down the street. I mean, not even down the street, like almost like a couple houses down. I didn't hear a thing inside my house. So that was really cool.
Now, as far as my thoughts on Zelda and on being on NX is concerned, if this is true, yes, absolutely, go for it.
Wait a minute, JTurner, do you mean yes as in like in Bison? Yes.
No. I don't really mean it like that. I was just saying, go for it, Nintendo, because as I said, Wii U didn't have a particularly compelling launch lineup. New Super Mario Bros. U and Nintendo Land, good games, but big system sellers, No way. But Zelda, this is something that a lot of people really, really want to see. Put it on NX at launch, and it's going to sell like hotcakes. No
It's going to
questions
sell
asked.
so. I mean, and that's the thing that I don't understand when people say that. Oh, well, Nintendo shouldn't do this. Why in the world should they not have Zelda at launch? Like, what would be? I mean, and the only thing that I get from people is, well, the Wii U hasn't had an exclusive Zelda game, like true Zelda game, not counting Hyrule Warriors, but Hyrule Warriors is coming to the 3DS anyway. So the Wii U has not had an exclusive Zelda game, and I'm like, Nintendo's never had a main home console sell as poorly as Wii U. Like,
yeah, seriously. I mean, if it was one thing because GameCube was it was doing badly, but nowhere nearly as badly as Wii U was, and even N64 was it started off good, but it was beginning to lose steam. So seriously, you don't drag out a system that's dying and try to put out a big game on it in the hope that it will sell. It just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
Sorry.
Business wise, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, in a lot of people, they don't see it from a business perspective. They see it from just a hardcore Nintendo fan perspective. Like, oh, well, there's never been we need an exclusive Zelda game. All the other systems have an exclusive Zelda game. They're not thinking about it from a business side. A business decision, if Nintendo said, let's just say Nintendo decides to not put Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo NX at launch and leaves it only on Wii U.
That would be a recipe for disaster.
That is a bad business decision, because you're saying buy our new system, but also buy our old system to play this game, and you're going to release it around the same time? Or, I mean, if it does come out in 2016, it just doesn't make sense to me to do that. Just like it was a good business decision last generation with the Wii and the GameCube and the, you know.
Yeah, so, and I do think it actually would have been a better idea if Skyward Sword was actually released on the Wii U, because I'm not saying it would have necessarily changed fortunes, but think about it. Brand new Zelda game available on a new system. I think the Wii U would have had a hell of a better future if it came out on that instead.
It would have been better, but I mean, I don't fault Nintendo for not doing it, because at the time that it was ready, like the Wii was doing phenomenal, and in Nintendo's eyes, there was no need for them to think that the Wii U wouldn't do phenomenal, because Nintendo thought that we can just name it Wii and people would just buy it. I mean, because this brand that we have, they thought. I mean, I don't know if they're getting super cocky. Maybe they were. I think they possibly were, but they thought that the Wii brand was untouchable. So
yeah, and that was the mistake they made with Wii U.
Exactly.
It wasn't a good idea.
There's no need to bring Zelda on Wii U. We can launch it with these third-party ports, and we can launch it with, you know, some Nintendo Land or whatever else, New Super Mario Bros., and we should be fine. So with the GameCube, it was different. The GameCube, it was a really low-selling home console. At the time, that was their worst-selling main home console. So they're like, okay, well, we've got to do something we're unsure. The Wii was a brand new concept. Zelda's going to make this more, you know, better for us. But from Wii to Wii U, I thought Nintendo was probably just thinking, we got this, you know, like we got this. So
yeah, I think they were getting a little bit too carried away with this success, as I said.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the stuff that they would do in the Wii era was just absolutely ridiculous. Some of the stuff that they would do in the Wii era was just absolutely ridiculous. Like not giving people options, like to control, like it's like, oh no, you have to play with Wiimote. You have to play with Wiimote. We released this classic controller, but no. We're not going to give you the option to play with a different type of controller. You have to use Wii Remote for everything. It's like stuff like that they did in the Wii era was just like, are you kidding me? You know, like.
Oh, that's not the only ridiculous solution. That's not the only ridiculous actions I can think of. Denying a lot of gamers games that they really wanted to play. Mm-hmm. Thank our lucky stars we got Xenoblade, Last Story, and Pandora's Tower. But Disaster Day of Crisis? That would have been a great title for Wii owners to get. But did we get it? No.
Yep. Fatal Frame too.
Oh yeah, that was very
in North America. I mean, I think Europe got it, but in North America, like it's really Nintendo of America.
Which Fatal Frame? Fatal Frame 4? I know that Fatal Frame 2 remake made it into Europe, but Fatal Frame 4 didn't really make it because there were apparently graphical problems. Thank God we at least got Fatal Frame 5, and I absolutely love that game. I love the creepy atmosphere of it. It's another one of my favorite games that I've played last year. I love the creepy atmosphere of it, and the controls are, I think, a lot more tighter in this version than they were in the first Fatal Frame. I did try playing the first Fatal Frame. It was good, but the controls were very, very twitchy and not always responsive. Mm-hmm. In this one, the controls felt much more tighter and very responsive, and the way they used the gamepad to take the photos, that was very creative on their part. So thank goodness we got it. It stinks that we had to get a digital only and that there were some censorship issues, but hey, I'll take that over not getting the game at all.
Yeah, the censorship issues, and to me, it's like, yo, I'm tired of like, why we gotta wait like one whole year after the Japanese version? Like, that's the one thing that I don't like. Like, and it sounds like I'm whining a lot in this episode, but yo, like, I don't like waiting so long. Like, I see a game, I have a Japanese Wii U, I can buy the game if I want to, but obviously I would like to play it in America, like, in English. I mean, it's like, why do we gotta wait 1 year for a game? Like, what is this? Like, is this 1993 where we have to wait for localizations for like one whole year? I mean, they do the same thing. They do the same thing with like Fire Emblem. They do the same thing with like Bravely Second. It's like Nintendo, they take like one whole year to localize games. It's just, I don't know. That's the same with like Fatal Frame. It's like, okay, it would have been cool if it came out like back then. Like, why didn't it just come out like when around the time the Japanese version, or why didn't it come out like summer? They always put it where it's like they load the end of the year with like a gazillion games, and it's tough for me to play a gazillion games all at one point, especially games that were held back from the year before.
That is one issue that I would like to see Mr. Kimishima correct. But so far, though, my impressions of him are very positive. I like the guy. It seems to me that he has the best qualities of Yamauchi and Iwata, the practical business sense, minus the bullying demeanor that some people saw him as, and Iwata's sense as being the person who doesn't believe in just running a company based on numbers, but actually trying to be creative while at the same time not being out of touch. So I really got to applaud the guy so far. He's doing a pretty good job.
I would like to see him maybe come on video and say something at least just once. I mean, he doesn't have to dress up like Iwata did or anything like that, but it would just be nice for him to address the Western audience just at least just once on camera,
Yeah, he seems to be a lot more camera shy, and I guess he's I don't know why they didn't bring him out on the last direct. I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. Whatever.
I mean, I guess like, okay, Sony's president doesn't do that, but Phil Spencer, who's the head of Xbox, he talks to people, and he's even made videos addressing at least being translated to the Japanese audience. I mean, even though they don't have any, but he's done it,
That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Phil Spencer he's almost like the type of dude that I would want, like, at least helping Nintendo. I mean, if I don't think that would ever happen where Phil Spencer would ever be in a high enough position with, like, I don't think he'd ever quit Xbox to work for Nintendo. But I mean, if that opportunity ever did come about, it would be cool if Phil Spencer did, because I just think that he's real personal with the fans. Like, he'll talk to the fans on Twitter and stuff like that, and that's cool. I like that. He'll respond to no-name journalists, like like in emails and stuff like that. So like I mean, I've spoke with him before myself. So I've never spoke with anybody from, at least any super higher up from Sony or from Nintendo. I've spoke with lower end people of those two companies, but I've never spoke I've never spoke with Reggie. Although Reggie's really cool. I mean, Reggie will say stuff to the fans and all that, but Reggie tends to only give interviews and stuff to really big websites and stuff like that. And same with Sony, with Kaz Hirai. So yeah, that'd be. I mean, it'd be interesting just to see how Kimishima handles. It's interesting to see how Kimishima is handling everything, but I mean, this is difficult for him. I mean, like, the fact that he's getting put into this spot. I mean, that's a lot of pressure,
Oh, sure, definitely. I mean, he's following on the heels of a president who unexpectedly passed away last year. That's a real tough job for anybody to handle. But the fact that he's not receiving any flack so far, it makes me hopeful.
Yeah. So just to let you guys know, we do have a Q&A. This is going to be a lot of a Q&A session as well. So if you have any questions, go ahead and hit that yellow font in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen.
And in the meantime, I think we've covered the Zelda on NX thing well enough.
Yeah, definitely. And also make sure you hit the top. You'll see a bunch of squares. Just hit that in the top and you can ask a question for us. So yeah, because we only have one question so far, and I want to get at least a good 10 or 11 questions answered. So yeah, go ahead and ask those questions, guys. I don't mind if it's repeat, same user, ask multiple questions. I don't care. So JTurner, you got some topics for us today?
Oh, definitely. I actually wanted to mainly talk about how much I'm in love with Xenoblade Chronicles X. This game is amazing. It's really, really amazing. I remember playing the original Xenoblade Chronicles on my Wii and being completely blown away by it. But Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's almost like that Monolith Soft really stepped up their game in terms of building the world and in providing the gameplay a lot more rich, imaginative content. I mean, the world of Mira just feels so alive and so richly detailed. There's a lot of subtle nuances in this game that I find just really, really incredible. The graphics are absolutely breathtaking, and the whole atmosphere is just really, really cool. But what I really, really love about this game is the environment, and it seems to me like Monolith Soft took a lot of elements from various popular sci-fi stories like Star Wars and let me see, and even Planet of the Apes and Star Trek and Independence Day, and just put them all together in a huge melting pot. And it really makes for a world that is completely imaginative. This is especially evident in the different alien cultures in the game. Because on one hand, you have the nasty ganglion who basically want to kill everybody in humanity. But then on the other hand, you have these strange lizard-like little floppy-eared man-on guys who love pizza and talk like they're Alvin and the Chipmunks. And then you have guys like L, who's more interested in making a profit, but is very fascinated by humans, but who gets his words mixed up. And then you have all these strange different creatures of unknown species. This is really one of the most amazing worlds that I've ever seen in any video game to date, period. When it comes to developing worlds, Monolith Soft has really stepped it up. If I were to have any minor little criticisms about Xenoblade X, don't get me wrong, this is a great game. I absolutely love it. But I would say that I think from a storytelling perspective, I think the original Xenoblade has a small advantage over the sequel. I'm not saying the storyline is bad in this one. It's really interesting, and I do like the idea that we're trying to find out more about Mira. But I felt that the original Xenoblade had the more interesting story arc in terms of learning about the characters' inner conflict in his journey and trying to figure out what the Monado is and whatnot. There was just a lot of intrigue and mystery and never-ending suspense that I just found so captivating. Xenoblade Chronicles X seems to take a little bit of a seems to put the storyline in the background. This game's storyline is actually much shorter, but then I realized that the subquests are actually a lot more interesting than the game itself. It's almost like that you learn a lot more about the characters and the relationships through the affinity missions and whatnot. And to me, I think that's where the real meat of the game is. It's not so much the player's story as much as it is finding out who these characters are, where they come from, the world that they're dealing in, the different cultures, and all that entails. It's just a really interesting change of pace. The other thing that I want to say too is that I think in terms of music, I think the original Xenoblade has probably the more richer soundtrack. I mean, I can turn on my webcam right now and I can show you that I have both soundtracks of Xenoblade. See, Xenoblade and Xenoblade X right here. I think this one has a bit more of an advantage because it was done by veterans. It was done by Yoko Shimomura and Yasunori Mitsuda and newcomers, and the results were very, very beautiful. Hiroyuki Sawano's score it's not bad. It's fairly well fitting, but it's also got a bit more of an aggressive, edgy attitude to it and a bit more rebellious, what with the use of rapping in the battle songs and attempts to be very, very hip, like the new Los Angeles theme. But I'm not complaining at all about it. I also want to say that I think the English voice cast is excellent. I love the English voice acting in this game. Caitlin Glass, who I loved as Winry from Full Metal Alchemist, she does an excellent job as Elma. There's just something about her performance that's just so warm, and so she really makes Lynn the sort of character that you can trust easily to tour guide. I also really love Cassandra Lee as Lynn. She's one of my favorite characters in the game. I just love her peppy attitude, and I love the quirkiness that she has with her character and the nerdiness that she has. And her scenes with Tatsu are very, very funny. I mean, I do feel a little sorry for the poor little guy, though. How many times is Lynn going to threaten to bake him into stuff?
Apparently a million times. A million times that she's going to bake him. But yeah, I mean, I have to agree. Xenoblade Chronicles X is just an amazing game. There's definitely, it has its issues, and it's not perfect, of course. But
yeah, well, one issue that I also wanted to talk about is that as much as I love the voice acting, one little quibble that I do have about the game is the lip sync. I'm usually very, very anal about this because I've been watching a lot of Japanese animation dubbed into English for years. And go ahead, make fun of me for saying that. But seriously.
What do you talk about? Everybody that watches Japanese animation dubbed in English.
Oh, thank goodness. It's just that there's vocal purists who would really want to say, you're not a real fan if you watch anime dubbed.
Oh, you mean, okay, so you actually watch the English voice acting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Get out of here, you filthy casual. No, I'm joking.
Oh, thank goodness. Because that's another sort of person that I really have trouble with. Whatever happened to respecting different opinions?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where some people are just acting like it's so nerdy to get mad at people for, I mean, like, okay, yes, I do not like most anime. I mean, I don't like watching like Naruto in English. I actually hate watching Naruto in English, and I won't. I'll only watch it like, subbed. But that doesn't mean if somebody else wants to watch it in English, then it's a problem. Or if they want to watch, any Rurouni Kenshin or Yu Yu Hakusho. And actually, Yu Yu Hakusho, I actually like the English voice acting in Yu Yu Hakusho. I watched all of it in English, the whole thing.
There are plenty of anime that, in my opinion, that are really, really good and dubbed in English. I actually have a website where I have reviewed certain anime dubs and dubs that I found great and others not so much. But I'm getting off topic. Anyway, the issue that I have with the lip sync in Xenoblade X is that there are certain cutscenes where I feel that the audio, when the characters are talking and when the lips are moving, is a bit off by about maybe 7 frames or so, and it's not detrimental by any means, but at the same time there are moments when it does give the unintentional feel of a badly dubbed Hong Kong movie, and that's something that I am very, very, very critical about. And I've been video capturing my way through Xenoblade X, and for the record, for those videos, I've actually done the painstaking job of trying to resync the dialogue to the flapping mouth movements, because I really am, as I said, I'm very, very anal about this. But having said that, those are really just small issues of what I think is otherwise an amazing game. It's also one of those games that you don't get bored with. I've put in about, let me see, I think about more than 200 hours or so into the game. And I haven't been bored the entire time. I just feel like there's just so much to do. It's not often that you get a game like that. No, this game is really incredible.
Especially from Nintendo's games. Usually, I mean, outside of their multiplayer games, like their games that are strictly focused on multiplayer, like Smash Bros. Or like Smash or like Mario Kart. You don't really see games like that they make to where you can just put in so much content that isn't like multiplayer focused. Like a Super Mario Maker for some might be that game where they can just put in a gazillion hours. But I mean, I've tried to like Super Mario Maker. I just don't. But
it's cool for what it provides. I'm rather fond of it. But again, it's not something that I would really go to town with. But Xenoblade X, this is my kind of game. This is the sort of game that I love playing. Not shooters, not puzzlers, not fighting games. This is the sort of games that I really, really like the most.
I mean, I'm just hoping Nintendo really learns from that experience as far as Xenoblade and making sure that they have games. I think they should have multiple teams working on RPGs. I mean, it shouldn't just be, you have the one team. I mean, you have Intelligent Systems, which is that, but they're mainly on 3DS this past. I mean, for pretty much the whole duration of the Wii U life cycle, their main games are all on Nintendo 3DS. I think that's a waste. That is a complete waste of talent to just keep one team, and I know they help out with certain games like on consoles, but no main games. I think that was also a mistake to not have Intelligent Systems make their own Wii U games. Like, I think that was also a mistake. as
Oh,
well.
absolutely, because on Wii, you saw from them Super Paper Mario, which was kind of cute, but not really my kind of game that much. I liked it, but not loved it. And Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, but we didn't see anything like that on Wii U. And
No.
come to think of it, it really is disappointing that there haven't been a lot more games of this caliber on Wii U. We could have gotten Dragon Quest X worldwide, but sadly, we didn't.
It's
I
so
mean,
frustrating. That's such a frustrating thing. Like when you have a game like Dragon Quest and it doesn't, you have a game that's as good as Dragon Quest, as good as Dragon Quest X is, because it is a good game, and it just doesn't come over to the West. You know, like that's the type of stuff that like Nintendo Square Enix have to work on doing stuff like that, and that's why I hope and I pray that these rumors, which this is probably a good segue into these rumors about Final Fantasy 15, again from Super Middle Dave, and Final Fantasy 7 Remake come to Nintendo NX. I think that's the type of games that Nintendo has to have, you know?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I, for one, am rooting for this to be true. I want to see this happen big time. It's about time that Square Enix shows Nintendo a lot of love. And from what I understand, when I heard that the NX is apparently capable of running Unreal Engine 4 out of the box, I was like, yes, smart move, Nintendo. But I really also want to see Kingdom Hearts 3 on NX. I really want to see that game on there, and I hope that Unreal Engine 4's inclusion on there means that we get to play that game. It's bad enough that I had to get a PS3 to play games that I couldn't play on Wii U. But no offense to PS4 owners, but I really don't want to have to do the same thing again. But if NX doesn't live up to it, I may end up doing just that. So please, please make it happen, Nintendo and Square Enix. I'm begging you.
I think there's enough information out there. There's enough.
What's the matter? You sound like you're breaking up on my end.
Oh, am I breaking up?
Yeah, you sound like you're breaking up from my angle.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. How about now?
No, it still sounds a little bit staticky.
Staticky. Let me see. I think I maybe hit something. Something must have came out.
Yeah, it still sounds pretty weird. Keep talking, Francis. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay, I'm going to keep talking here.
It's funny, you know, in the last Fancast, my microphone was having problems, but now it's you. I mean, I don't understand what happened. I guess these things do sometimes happen, don't they? Oh, well. But at any rate, two other Nintendo-related stories that I wanted to share with you folks were something that I somehow got mixed up with over the past couple of months. Recently on eBay, I was selling a DVD that I had imported from Japan, one of my favorite movies of all time, Mr. Miyazaki's Lapida, The Castle in the Sky. And guess what? My customer for that title was none other than Mr. Dan Owsen from Nintendo of America. Yes, that Dan Owsen. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dan Owsen was the guy who worked on a lot of the localizations of many Super Nintendo games from the past. Zelda, A Link to the Past, Super Mario World, Star Fox, you name it. And a lot of gamers remember him best as the opening voiceover from Super Metroid. Remember this famous quote? The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace. And when I found out that this guy was the customer who had purchased the Japanese DVD of Lapida from my end, I was like, wow, that's something that doesn't happen every day. To actually have your customer be Nintendo of America's own own localizer. That is so cool. That's something that doesn't happen every day. And I was so thrilled about it that I covered his package with Super NES for the win, because I was so geeky and so nerdy about, you know, having him as a customer. And that was just really, really cool. That's something that doesn't happen every day. On another note, I also recently got cast in a Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword manga fan dub, where I get to play a soldier who basically orders the soldiers to fight back against this evil that's coming at them. My line is basically this: "It's a demon come to attack us! Fire arrows!" I don't know when this fan dub project will be complete, but if it does happen, I'll be glad to let Francis and you guys know. And to any of you aspiring voice actors who might be listening to this, just imagine getting in front of a microphone and having to shout your lines like this. Trust me, it's hard, very hard. So keep that in mind if you want to start to be a voiceover actor. Make sure you drink lots of water and be very, very careful on the vocal cords. You don't want to damage them. Are you okay now, Francis? Are you still there? Francis, are you still there? That's weird. You dropped out. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I still can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I still don't. I don't know what's going on. There, is that better? Can you hear me now? I don't understand. I'm not trying to mute him, please. Sorry about that, folks. What's going on with my, something's wrong with the chat? Where? Oh, there. I really don't know what went wrong. Excuse me. Oh, I'm still... Oh, are you there, Francis?
I am here.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't know what went wrong right there, but...
Okay, so you can hear me now.
Oh, yeah, much better.
Okay, good.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed those interesting little Nintendo anecdotes that I just shared with you. You know, having Dan Housen from Nintendo being one of your customers for one of my eBay items and me doing a voiceover in Skyward Sword's fan dub project, that's something that doesn't happen every day. And I hope you guys all enjoyed that.
Okay. Hey, John, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic here. And this next topic is actually pretty freaking cool. And I know that you want to talk a little bit more about it, right? That you emailed to me?
Oh, absolutely.
Topic? Yeah. And the next topic is...
Yes, come on. I can't stand the suspense.
Oh, I thought you had the next topic.
Oh, no. I already talked with them about it.
Okay, good. Then I will go into my topic before we get into user questions because
yeah, go ahead. I'm really sorry about this, folks. We don't know why it happened.
Yeah, you know, it's a Googleism, as Shadow Fox would say. It's a little bit of a Googleism. It's having some issues with that, but I do want to speak briefly. About The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess HD. I know we talked about that, but the pre-orders on this game, just going by, I know VG Charts is not 100%, but just going off of what this game, I want to read off to you guys in North America alone, USA, not even North America, in USA alone. Here are the top 10 pre-ordered games so far. So The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U, with about 4 weeks to launch or so, it's a few more weeks, has 614,143 pre-orders estimated by VG Charts. Tom Clancy's Division on PS4 has 562,000. Tom Clancy's Division on Xbox One has 556,000. Uncharted 4 has 415,000. Fire Emblem Fates has 326,000. Street Fighter 5 has 245,000. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 has 225,000. Mega Man Legacy Collection has 149,000. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm on the Xbox has 127,000. Overwatch on PC has 101,000. Remember, this is February, the week ending in February 6th, so that's why there's some games that are actually already out at this point, yet they're still talking about pre-orders. But Jesus Christ, those pre-orders for Twilight Princess HD, and look, and like I said, this is just VG Charts, but it's actually been somewhat accurate as far as the pre-orders go and seeing how big the sales are going to be for launch week. Is this game going to sell 1 million? Like at launch in North America alone? People are obviously pre-ordering this game like crazy. Like Amazon, it's like the #1 pre-ordered item
Wow.
It's for Wii U games, and it's in like the top 20 for most pre-ordered video games, easily in the top 20. I think it's even in the top 5, pre-orders as far as that goes. And the thing about Amazon is that if a game is really anticipated, this is what Amazon will do. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get that game on launch day. Now, like Fire Emblem, no, you could not do that. Other games, you could not do that to where you'll get it on launch day. But Twilight Princess HD, you can get on launch day if you pre-order it. So that's how you know that this game is high in demand. So
that is really, really incredible. But at the same time, it doesn't really surprise me. It shows that even though the Wii U...
I'm a little shocked. I'm a little surprised because this was not the same for other high-profile games. Like, it wasn't... I mean, Smash Bros. Was almost like this for Wii U.
And so was Mario Kart 8.
Mm-hmm. This game is, I mean, I guess I don't think it's going to sell more than Smash Bros. Overall or more than Mario Kart, but I think it's just going to have a large following of like hardcore fans just buy the game day one,
Did you hear that, Nintendo? Good move on putting Zelda on NX. It's the kind of results you should have been seeing on Wii U from the start. If you had a game like this, you would have had a whole different scenario right here. Please, don't mess this up.
And that's the thing. Core Zelda experiences move copies, for the core fans. Like, it's one of those games that will sell more systems. In my opinion, it will sell more systems than Smash Bros. Zelda will actually sell more systems. Now, copies, I don't know about that. But systems itself, Zelda is one of those big system sellers. A main Zelda, not a spin-off, not like an HD remake or anything like that. But a main Zelda game has the power to move consoles so well. And like, that's what Nintendo needs to make sure that they have at the launch of NX. But
absolutely, definitely.
These pre-orders are insane. The fact that it's keeping up with like games like Uncharted and like The Division, The Division.
That is just incredible. I guess it shows that even if Wii U may not go down as Nintendo's most well-remembered system, it's incredible that a lot of people really do want to play this game. Yeah. Even though they already have it on Wii and you can technically play it. Yeah, even though you can technically play it on Wii U, all you got to do is insert your Wii copy. But my gosh.
And you can easily play it on PC if you want. So there's all sorts of ways to play this game, yet people really want, and the thing about it is, I think people really want that type. I think if there's any one game that the gamepad was built for, it was Zelda, because you have a map, you have the quick swap on those things, like having to, if you would time, I wish somebody would actually time how much time you spend looking at a map in a Zelda game, like pausing the game to look at a map, and stuff like that. So
definitely, for sure. It definitely works in favor of Wind Waker HD.
Oh, it works. I mean, like, I tried to play Wind Waker HD with my Wii U Pro controller, and I stopped playing after like 2 minutes. I was like, I can't do this. Like, when I was out in the sea, like, I was like, I got to press the pause button every single time to pull up my chart. It's just breaking the flow of the game. It's much easier just to glance down at the gamepad, just quickly look at something and be, okay, that's where I'm going. The gamepad is so good for a game like Zelda.
Oh, definitely, for sure. We definitely need to. It's definitely one of those cases where the gamepad, while perhaps not being used to its full extent, that is an example about how well it could have been used.
Mm-hmm.
A shame that it has to go down to waste like this, because, if they had done a lot more like this, again, Wii U would not be in this terrible position.
You know what I think it is? It was just, here's the thing. It was, they probably, if you could go back, hindsight is 2020. We all know this. But if Nintendo could go back, I think they would have integrated their mobile, or their, not mobile, but they would have integrated their handheld development, R&D, with their console development before the Wii U and 3DS launched. Because if you would have made the 3DS an actual controller that had the same functionalities and that could link and that could have the type of latency, the quick latency between the two, this situation probably wouldn't have happened. If the Wii U came packed with just like, let's just say, a Pro controller, and you could use your 3DS, which had already sold like well more than like what, 20 million or so when the Wii U launched in that first year. Or not 20 million, but it had sold at least 10 or so million by the time the Wii U launched. I don't know the exact numbers. That would have been an incentive for not only for people to buy a Wii U so you can use your 3DS, but also more people to buy 3DS systems. I think the fact that Nintendo said, okay, well, we're going to make you pay for this controller that might be used in some games, might not be used in some games, but you're going to pay for it, because Miyamoto did say that if the Xbox One and the PS4 came with the gamepad, it would cost $100 more. So that pretty much gives us an idea of how much the gamepad actually took, which would be roughly $100. So the fact that they made us pay for that, but they're like, oh, well, you don't always have to use it. And in certain games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, it's turned off, unless you want to do off TV play, which is just a secondary feature, not a main feature. Then,
yeah, definitely don't mess this up again, Nintendo. Don't.
It would have been better if they would have just integrated their 3DS as an actual gamepad and then put the system cheaper. That probably would have been a better thing. I think Nintendo would have done that if that idea I think would have worked if you had the Wii U for $199 and
yeah, that would have been a whole lot better. We would have been telling a far different story than we are today.
Easily. I mean, I think it would have done at least minimum GameCube. As far as sales go, minimum. And I think that's, like I said, that's just the minimum. I think it actually would have done more. I think it would have done maybe N64 level, but whatever. That's the past. So we're gonna go ahead. That's pretty much an hour of us talking about random stuff. We're gonna go ahead and get into user questions, because the users have responded. We have a good slate of questions here, so let's go ahead and get right into them. This one comes from the Magnum 924. What is one old Nintendo IP you would like to see make an appearance on NX? So, John, I will let you go first.
Eternal Darkness, hands down.
Oh, we get a round of applause.
Yeah, that was a really, really good game, and it's a shame that we didn't get a sequel. I loved that game so much. Other IPs I'd love to see, Star Tropics, definitely. That's another game that I started playing, and I thought, this is really cool. Why don't we see a lot more of this? And gosh, as far as other IPs, let me see if I can think of it for a moment.
You just said one, so you've named two. But
sorry.
No, it's all good. If there's one that I really want to see, if you're going to count Golden Sun as an old IP, it's Golden Sun. I would
definitely
want a Golden Sun game, and it'd be like a Nintendo NX, like portable. Maybe it's a portable exclusive that can also be played on the
TV.
On the TV, whatever the case is. I don't care. I want to see a Golden Sun game, and I want to see one at this point now. Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah, I second this.
Yeah, Golden Sun. So let's go. I would, and I wouldn't mind a cool Ice Climbers action game either. If you want to go like really old school IP, a cool Ice Climbers action game, not a stupid one where I'm just floating up like the old I'm in like an action game, Ice Climbers. That would be cool with co-op. So something like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but with the Ice Climbers and cool. That would be, that would be fun.
All right, next question.
Next question comes from Ryan Allen. What's up, dude? With Smash Bros. And Zelda being rumored for launch or near launch for the NX, what other IP could Nintendo have ready for launch? Yo, I think that's enough, to be honest.
Unless you want to be bold and throw in a Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Okay, if Nintendo launched the NX with Zelda, Smash Bros, and Mario Galaxy 3, if they don't sell, how could that not sell? How can the NX not sell with those three games? Like,
absolutely. Smokes. Yeah, Super Mario Galaxy is, in my opinion, one of the better 3D Mario games that I've ever played in recent years. I mean, Super Mario 3D World isn't bad, but to me, Galaxy had a much more wow factor to it. I mean, come on, you could go in outer space. The possibilities for Mario right there were absolutely endless. I was thrilled when we got Super Mario Galaxy 2. I definitely
love that game. That's my favorite 3D Mario game of all time, and it's in my top. I would probably say it's tied with Super Mario Bros. 3 as my favorite Mario game, my favorite main Mario platformer of all time.
Yeah, it's definitely really, really good. So, but on the other hand, we really can't say for sure. I mean, here's hoping New Super Mario Brothers, and Super Mario 3D World, neither one of those two games really showed what Mario could really do. So if you're going to do a new 3D Mario game, have it be like that Mario Galaxy, please.
And I just think that Super Mario 3D World, I think the balance between multiplayer and single player maybe made that game not as good, because they wanted to make the game a multiplayer game, but then they didn't want to actually make it like a real multiplayer game, like where it actually has multiplayer modes and it actually has multiplayer features and it has online play. So they didn't want to go too much into multiplayer. But then again, that may be cut away from single player because you only have a limited amount of dev time to make any type of game, and you have to focus on certain things. So I think that's the only thing that kind of took away a little bit from that game. Now, I think Super Mario 3D World is more of a single player game. I think that game is more of a single player game than it is a multiplayer game. But I still think that game is still awesome. Like, that game is still really awesome. But I think Nintendo, next time, if you're going to make a multiplayer Mario game, make it a multiplayer Mario game. Make multiplayer features. Make online play. Don't go half-assed with it and say, okay, well, there's local multiplayer. There's no online features other than trying to collect a crown or trying to get the most points in a level. You know, like, make matchmaking. Make it a real multiplayer Mario game. Don't go half-ass in each category. So that's the only thing that I would say to Nintendo. If they're going to do another Mario multiplayer game, is to actually make it a real multiplayer game and not say it's a kind of a multiplayer. And maybe when your friends come or with your family. I mean, and I think that's the whole casual. That was the whole casual aspect with that game, was just trying to get your family to play, you know, or your friends to play in just like a limited section, bite sides of, you know, when they're there, and play by yourself when they're not there. So.
Well, sure. If you want to get a game that revolutionary, make sure that it genuinely is revolutionary.
Exactly. Like, which a Mario multiplayer game, a 3D Mario multiplayer game was never done before, right? We had never seen any other, 3D Mario multiplayer game. So that was pretty cool. But let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the next question here. We have did I say anything? A game that I would want ready for launch. I'm just going to quickly say something. Golden Sun. So let's go ahead and let's move on to the next thing here. The next question.
All right.
This one comes from The Only One. Nintendo has given Takamaru recently some love. Do you expect a reboot of the Miramase Castle series where Takamaru is from? He was considered as a Smash fighter. Yeah, he was considered. If they did do it, I would like to see them do it as like a Ninja Gaiden type of game. I don't expect it because that IP is so old. But if they did do it, I would love to see Takamaru as like a Ninja Gaiden type game. And like, please don't let it be like, no blood or anything like that. I want it to be a mature rated franchise like Ninja Gaiden. I would like it to be like Ninja Gaiden, but Nintendo's version there.
Yeah, well, my expectations for that happening are very, very, very slim. I don't really see it happening either because, come on, this game dates back from what, the 1980s? Yeah. We haven't seen any new entries in this one since. But from what I've played of it, it's kind of like Zelda, but instead it features a ninja. And so I really don't see it happening. Hopefully it does. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I really can't say.
Is he a ninja or is he a samurai?
I really don't know. I could have it mixed up. Okay. I sometimes get the two mixed up.
He's dressed like a samurai, or maybe he's a ninja. I don't know. Whatever. He does ninja-like stuff, I guess, but so do samurais, maybe. Anyway, okay, so let's move on to the next question here. This one comes from The Only One again. This is maybe a random question, but what for color will be the main color of the NX? The boxes and logo, GameCube had purple, Wii, 3DS white, Wii U blue, and 3DS red. Oh, that's actually a really good question.
Yeah.
It depends on the theme of the console. I personally think that they're going to go for Super Nintendo color. They're going to go for grayish. That's what I think.
Yeah, I definitely think that this time around, whatever color they choose for NX, it should be something that really screams hardcore so that it's something that appeals to the best of both worlds. Not too casual, not too alienatingly hardcore, but somewhere in between the two. I think that would be a perfect match.
Nintendo with this system, they can't rely on casuals at all, actually. They can't rely on casuals at all for this system. So they really need to just bank on everything that hardcore gamers and hope that casuals latch on like the casuals have latched on to PS4. That's what they have to just hope for. They have to really focus this and say, this is for core gamers. This is for core gamers, and shout that to the heavens, but then just hope and pray that casual gamers also latch on, because casual gamers are buying PS4 in droves. And I mean gamers who they buy a system for their family.
Yeah, I heard
you.
I remember you talking about that on the Super Metal Dave Mizati Fancast.
It's insane. Like I said, the company that I work for is, and if you guys haven't seen that podcast, I'll just go ahead and say the story again. The company that I work for is 95%, at least the branch, I'm a corporate employee. The branch that I work for in the pharmacy is like 95% women. There's like 3 dudes there, okay? And most of these women are in their 30s or above, okay? And we're at a corporate conference call, and I'm like, trying not to fall asleep. And they start talking about PS4s. They start talking about buying PS4s to watch movies and to play with their kids. And I'm like, okay, Nintendo has officially lost the casual gamer.
I know I know it's really, really shocking. So
yeah,
that's gonna be a real struggle for them for NX. I hope they pull it off though.
Not just one of them. I mean, multiple women, like 40s and 50s, talking about PlayStation 4s. The company that I work for even works with Sony to license some of the same technology used in the PS4 for our own business operations. I work in a pharmacy. I work for a large corporation that's being bought by another large corporation. So we're going to make a mega corporation, and I'm just somewhere in the mix of all these people that work there. So yeah. It's insane. I was like, that woke me up. Like, I was just like, okay, corporate talk, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden they started talking about PS4s, and I was like, what?
I have a similar anecdote about that I found to be really, really, really shocking. I recently went to a GameStop, and all around there were just Sony and Microsoft displays everywhere.
Oh, of course, that's GameStop.
and when I saw Nintendo, their space was very, very tiny. So tiny you would not even. It's almost like it's so small that you would not even believe that last gen they were on top. It's just ridiculous.
It's in the back. This is how every single GameStop is here in my town. Like, every single GameStop. We have a ton of GameStops here too, and every single one, you'll see a little corner in the very back, like a little slice, a sliver. I mean, like literally a fraction of the size of this room that I'm in. And my game room here isn't huge, but it's not small either, but a fraction of the size. I'm talking like, if you've seen my videos where I keep my my bookshelf, it's like literally that width, which is it's like 3 or 4 feet. A bunch of games and Amiibo packed into that little section, 3DS and Wii U, and that's it in the back corner of the store. Yo, that's got to change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I say Nintendo go all out when they do NX. No holding back. Go all out. Guns blazing. No questions asked.
I mean, so I know this kind of derailed off into something, but yeah, a color scheme that you would want, JTurner. Did you say Super Nintendo color scheme too, or what would you?
Yeah, I think I basically said that. I really don't have much of an answer on it. I'm kind of neutral, but either way, anything that's somewhere in between the two. That's very appealing.
I guess the safe answer would be just black.
Okay.
Or like a grayish or like a charcoal type color. That would probably be the safe answer. But I think they're going to go with the Super Nintendo with gray and purple. I think that's what they're going to go with.
I hope so.
That would be cool. Next question comes from the Magnum 924. Why do you think that no one seems to be using the new Nintendo 3DS higher specs and whatnot? Even Nintendo doesn't seem to take advantage of it, even though they said they put it out to extend the 3DS's life. Well, I have a theory for this, and this is what it is. Nintendo, nobody's using that because of what is coming up next. There's no point in investing into it. There's not a high enough install base, I think, of just new Nintendo 3DS users, and the bump isn't that significant. It's just not a significant bump to really. It's not a significant enough for developers, and developers had already stopped developing on the Nintendo 3DS as far as Western developers a long time ago. Japanese developers, why invest the extra money into it when most of their users just have a regular 3DS, into where you can just make regular 3DS games that you don't need it. So outside of a few games like Monster Hunter and Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
3D, yeah, 3D. The port of the original.
Yeah, there's no need, especially with probably the new NX portable coming up pretty soon here. So yeah.
I really don't have much else to say about that either, because I haven't been following new Nintendo 3DS very much at all. But yeah, if that's how it is, well, that's just too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it is. Nobody's taking advantage of it. And I didn't expect anyone to take advantage of it. Nobody took advantage of like the DSi XL, like some of the boosted performance that had. There was very few games that took advantage of that. So I mean, So yeah, I don't think it's going to be. It's no different for this system. Nintendo always does this. The new Nintendo 3DS. The biggest advantage of it is the 3D that doesn't mess up when you like. It has the face tracking. That's the biggest thing with this system. It's not the boosted hardware. It's the face tracking and faster downloads. Like you can download stuff faster, and you can face track. The 3D is much better in this. So that's the main thing. Not necessarily the horsepower, because Nintendo barely improved the horsepower of the system. So yeah. Anyway, you don't want to alienate too many people either. Like you already have a huge fan base of 3DS dudes, so you don't want to make sure that any game that was released can also be played on regular 3DS as well. All
Absolutely.
Right. So next question comes from the only one. Name for Nintendo NX, NES2, something else, or just NX? I like Nintendo NX or Nintendo Next. That's what I like. What about you?
Yeah, I like the name too because to me, and Nintendo X, it can mean various different things. I mean, think about the way Xenoblade Chronicles X was named. I mean, in Japan, the X basically meant cross. And I can sort of see this being a similar effect if they decide to name both systems X, because X can mean many things. It can mean just a letter or 10, but it can also be a very slight symbol for crossover. And I definitely think that if this new platform is going to be a console and handheld that you can play both games on without having to buy one over the other is correct, I think that would be a very, very fitting name. Just as long as they don't give it another mind-numbing name that will basically kill interest off from everybody in a heartbeat.
I know. As soon as it was announced Wii, people were just like, They just ran. People just ran. I've never seen a system sell so much with the Wii. Like I've never seen a console winner sell so much and be so hated in my lifetime. Like usually the console winner as far as system sales is beloved by people, and it's like, okay, well, what's next? But the Wii was just hated. Like it was just, from Nintendo fans and from people. There's plenty of people who love the Wii, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people who love the Wii and love everything about the Wii, but the Wii was just such a hated system. It really was.
Oh, yeah, I'll never forget it. Even during the days when I was going up against people who were saying, it has no games, I keep on having to point out a lot of the hidden cult titles that I showed you guys on the first fan cast. Remember Sakura Wars, Fragile Dreams, those kind of games.
That was the best thing about the Wii, in my opinion, was not necessarily Nintendo's first party games, but was all of the hidden cult classics, like stuff like Red Steel 2, stuff like you said, Sakura Wars, or stuff, all those type of games were just so cool. And the Wii got those games all the time. Miramasa, the Demon Blade. Like
I know
so many games that the Wii got, like those hidden games.
And the sad thing is that a lot of people don't even remember them very well. And that really breaks my heart, because I know it's going to sound very odd too, but ironically, those little games were actually among my top favorite Wii titles as well.
I love Red Steel 2. I love Red Steel 2 is one of my favorite games.
I haven't actually played Red Steel 2, but I definitely will try to do it someday. I promise.
It's great. And that's the one thing that I really wanted. Like, if you were following me back in the day when I first got started on my first YouTube channel, like that was one of the things I was like, yo, like Red Steel 2, or sorry, Red Steel 3, like Red Steel 3 on the NX, or sorry, on the Wii U at launch.
Actually, I think I came a little bit later into the game. I don't remember when I came over, but I think we're kind of getting off topic a little bit.
Yeah, we are. So let's go ahead and let's get back on topic here. And the next question coming from Sky Sands 2008. The story of Xenoblade X ended on a cliffhanger. Do you think they'll make a sequel?
Oh dear, this is spoiler territory.
It is spoiler territory. We're not going to talk about what the cliffhanger is or anything like that, but I will say, yes, there will be a sequel. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's going to be a direct sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles X, although that is a rumor that it is. But I think there is a high probability that we will see another Xenoblade Chronicles X type-ish game, if not direct sequel, with more of an emphasis on story. So.
Yeah, I think that's what Mr. Takahashi said, and I, for one, am really, really glad that they're starting work on it. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles X has already done pretty good for itself.
It's done well.
It's sold like about, what, 740,000 copies worldwide?
VG Charts has it tracked, like around 700 something thousand. But the thing about it is that, to be honest, it didn't really matter.
It's really good. Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
It did, but work already started on the sequel before, like Monolith Soft
Wow.
confirmed their next game before the game even launched in America. So before the sales even came out, or before Nintendo could even track the sales because the game wasn't out, Nintendo or Monolith Soft already said we're working on our next big game. So it doesn't matter because Nintendo, like Monolith Soft, is a corporate company. They are owned by Nintendo. They are bankrolled by Nintendo. They might have incentives for sales, but they are all getting paid, you know, whatever. They're not an independent company who is vying for contracts and who is vying and is heavily incentive-based contracts. Like, for instance, like Ninja Theory or like a company like that. They're not that. They're owned by Nintendo. They're bankrolled by Nintendo. So it doesn't really matter. Nintendo will fund what they want to fund. I mean, obviously sales play a part into it, but Monolith Soft isn't. I mean, the game was Xenoblade Chronicles X2 or whatever the next game was going to be. Whatever Monolith Soft's next game was going to be made no matter what.
Yeah, well, I definitely am very much looking forward to it. As I said, I'm having a great time with the game. But as far as the twist ending is concerned, I won't reveal what it is, but I definitely got Planet of the Apes vibes from it and Twilight Zone-ish, because if you remember the ending of Planet of the Apes, it ends with a scene that's like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. Xenoblade X has a similar ending. We won't spoil it, but yeah, it definitely calls for a second chapter. I do hope we see it though.
I think we'll see it. So let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the next question here. And I have someone banging on my door. This one
maybe your daughter.
Yeah, maybe my daughter, but she knows that I'm working. She's just being. I think she wants her candy. I think that's what it. But we got just a few more questions. Then I will get the candy for the little girl. So next question comes from Ryan Allen. Shigeru Miyamoto has stated that Pikmin 4 is very close to completion. I think it's actually done. Do you think it will come out for the NX, or is it an unannounced Wii U game, as Super Metal Dave spoke of? It's not unannounced. They already announced Pikmin 4. So
I really don't see them releasing it on Wii U at this point.
I see them releasing it on. I think it's going to be a Wii U game. I think it might be a Wii U game. I'm not 100% sure though.
That's very difficult to predict because
yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, because as I said, there really isn't much to look forward to. I mean, I'd be happy if I'm proven wrong about that, but given what we've seen Nintendo do at the end of the GameCube era and the Wii era, I don't have much hope for that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, I don't think that was the game that Super Metal Dave was talking about as far as unannounced, because Pikmin 4 is announced. Miyamoto said it's announced. So there's Paper Mario is not an officially announced game. That is a rumored game, but it's not officially announced by Nintendo. Nobody from Nintendo has announced that game, whereas Pikmin 4 has actually been announced. All right, so next question comes from, is it how do you say this name? Is it Aptosis?
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Fire Emblem Fates localization debacle? It sucks.
I really don't have much of an opinion on that matter because I haven't been following it. But this isn't much different from what we've been seeing. I mean, back in the SNES days, there were localization issues with certain games too. I mean, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, both absolutely awesome games, both had their share of censorships when both titles were released. The characters cursed a lot more in the Japanese version, from what I heard. They toned it down for the SNES release.
But this is the thing, man. Like, back then, there was a whole different mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, mainly kids. That was the thing. Although adults did play those games, but the media at that time was heavily focused towards children, heavily focused towards young adults, children, and who's playing these games. I mean, you guys have all seen the Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet. It had a bunch of kids, like, yay, like little kids, like 6, 7 years old, talking about playing this game where you're like ripping people's heads off.
I can attest to that. I remember a lot of kids really talking about it when I was in school a long time ago.
You always saw kids. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, today's day, that is not the case. Like, today's day, you have plenty of guys that are 30, 40, I mean, even more, playing these games, and like you sitting here and you censoring things that are so stupid. You are taking more time to censor out stuff that does not need to be censored. And then you say, oh, well, you get the game a year after Japan because you're making all these stupid changes that do take time, because you're removing code, you're removing something and replacing it. So that does take manpower, that does take time to make sure that the game does not break when you're localizing it. And you're removing these things for no reason. You could be saving time, but you're not saving time, you're removing. And it's so stupid. Oh my gosh, like, we can't see bikinis. How old are we? Are we 3? Like, get out of here. Like,
the bus slider controversy in Xenoblade X really doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I think it's silly.
It's so dumb to remove these things. Why are you spending even 3 minutes removing something like that? Women are not allowed to have different bust sizes now. Is that what you're telling me? For your created character, something that's easily visible, like a woman's bust size, no, you are no longer allowed to change that. No.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see them loosen up a little bit on that for this time.
And I know I'm probably overreacting maybe a little bit to the bust size slider, but that pissed me off too, because it's like, okay, well, what if you're a girl and you want to make yourself and you have big boobs? Well, default, like, or what if you're flat chested?
Yeah, I think we should be a little bit careful about this, because I think that'll make us think that we're perverts, and we're not.
No, I'm talking about if a girl. I said if a girl. Like, I made a guy character.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I said if a girl, not me myself, because I'm not a girl. But I'm not trying to be perverted, and I can understand like why somebody no. I'm just saying, like, if you're a girl and you're trying to make your own character, why are you giving them less options for that? I don't understand. Because of what? Because of SJWs online. That's stupid. That's dumb, and I want to see Nintendo chill out with these removals. Like, there's no need. People are not going to freak out, and if people do, it's just going to get more attention to your game. So quit, Nintendo. Please stop.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry about that little rant, guys. Anyway, next one comes from Etosis again. Do you think we will see a remake of F-Zero X on the 3DS? Maybe if you get a new 3DS, we can have an expansion pack. I don't think that's going to happen. Not on the 3DS. Maybe on the next Nintendo system, but I don't think they're going to invest in remaking a game for the new Nintendo 3DS by itself.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
he said 3DS or maybe new Nintendo 3DS. No.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see it happening either. I mean, I'd be more than happy to see another F-Zero on at any time at all, but at this point, I really don't see it happening on either 3DS or Wii U.
It should have happened, Nintendo. It should have happened with with Nintendo. Like, I guess they had a game that they wanted. They had an F-Zero game, but they wanted Crytek. No, not Crytek. They wanted, what's that company that makes Criterion? There we go. They wanted Criterion to make the game, and Criterion said, no, we're busy.
Criterion. Aren't they the folks who are responsible for the Need for Speed series? I forget.
Yes, that is them. That is well, I think the new Criterion has been dissolved into something. I don't know what happened to Criterion. I think they might still be there. But yes, they were. Yes, they were the ones who were responsible for the Need for Speed game that's on Wii U and the Need for Speed, the good Need for Speed games that released at the end of the generation for PS3 and Xbox 360. Those games, yes, they are responsible for that. They're very good. That team the head of that team and many of the people have left. Criterion is not the same company that it was, 3 years ago when they were making those Need for Speed games. But Nintendo wanted them to make that game, and they were busy. They couldn't do it, and Nintendo just said, "Oh well." And just never brought back F-Zero. Oh, well, if Criterion can't do it, nobody can. And they never made the game. But Nintendo did. That is actually confirmed from the guy who used to lead Criterion. He said, why make, this is what he said. He said, why make F-Zero? I'd rather work on my own games. That's what he said. So
better not have this situation happen again for NX.
It better not.
Yeah, better third-party support in NX. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Better third-party support on NX, hands down.
It needs it. Nintendo needs third-party support. There's no
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who says otherwise, that's absolutely delusional.
Anybody who says otherwise has no problem with the Wii U with Wii U sales right now. That's what they're like. Oh, Nintendo sells 12 million. That's okay with me. They're making profit, right?
I know. It's a really ridiculous argument that I find myself getting into with the Player Essence users. It's really frustrating on my end.
Some player with a very small select amount of hard-headed Player Essence users, which
very stubborn ones, not to mention rude and disrespectful.
And that's a very small amount. Most people are smart enough to know that Nintendo needs third-party support. Most Player Essence users, I would say 97% of Player Essence users know that Nintendo needs third-party support. There's a very small percent and the same people migrate to different websites to other, and say the same thing. Like, Nintendo doesn't need third-party support, but I mean, all you got to do is look at the Wii U sales and say, yeah, Nintendo needs third-party support. Anyway,
2 words: vocal minority.
Vocal minority. Next question comes from ZX Ride 64. Do you think Bandai Namco would release an HD remake / release of Xenosaga Trilogy and bring it to NX? I think that's actually more likely, but it would have to be. I think it would have to be something that Nintendo works out with Nintendo with
Monolith Soft.
Yes, with Monolith Soft. It was something. I'm stuttering here. Stumbling here. Yes, Monolith Soft. It would have to be something that works out. But I do think that is. I mean, if you want me to give me a percentage, I think that's a 50-50 that happens.
Yeah, well, I definitely would like to see anything happen because, as I said, Namco was responsible for one of my favorite games of all time, Tales of Symphonia. That was a beautiful, beautiful game. But I keep on hearing from a certain user, I will not mention the name, but he says, Namco is Sony's bitch. They are Sony whores. Stop hoping for their games to come. Just stop. Hello? This is the same Namco who co-worked with Nintendo on basically a lot of the Wii U games.
No,
Mario
who basically made Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, by the way.
And are currently working on Pokken Tournament. And you have the gall to tell me that Namco and Nintendo are having a poor relationship, that their relationship is terrible? Come on.
Namco and Nintendo have a great relationship. Namco put out freaking One Piece on the Wii U. They put One Piece, and they knew it wasn't going to sell. They knew it wasn't, but they did it anyway.
Yes, seriously. I think the user was basically just upset that we didn't see another Tales or Soul Calibur, which is understandable. I mean, please don't let it happen again on NX. Please don't let it happen again.
Namco is they can't put everything on Wii U because if you look at Wii U and you just look at business decision wise, you can't put everything on Wii U. You can't, because not even Nintendo puts everything on Wii U. Nintendo puts stuff on 3DS and says no to Wii U. So not even the system holder puts everything on Wii U because of budget-wise. How can you expect Bandai Namco to put everything on Wii U when Nintendo does it? So
yeah, on that level, I was very disappointed that we didn't see another Tales on Wii U. I was very disappointed. But on the other hand, as much as people want to say Hideo Baba is a Sony fanboy, he only wants his Tales games on Sony. Give up on that. But if he did that, then why allow Symphonia on GameCube and Symphonia's sequel on Wii and even Tales of the Abyss on 3DS?
It's not even that Baba is a Sony anything like. Here's the thing: he is given a shoestring budget. He is given a budget of $15 to make these Tales games and to.
Wow, they're that cheap? I didn't realize.
I'm exaggerating, but he is given a very small budget to make these Tales games. That's why Tales games feel very similar with very small changes between them. They usually use the same engine, up-ported, and things like that. And even like the PC version that came out, like they're like, oh well, 30 frames per second. And they said 30 frames per second on the PC version because their engine would only do 30 frames with that engine that they were given, and they don't have much of a budget to do much else. That's the reason why this Tales doesn't come over. Now, if the Wii U sold as well as the 3DS and as well as the Wii, then we would have seen at least one Tales game on the Wii U. But
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Baba actually said that himself. If the Wii U sales pick up, then we might consider it. And it didn't. So, of course, it didn't happen. And you have the gall to tell me that Baba was lying about that? Please.
It's just that he has to go with where they feel that most of their fan base is. So far over the years,
it's been on PS3, but
it's been on PlayStation. Although the GameCube version is, I think it's the best selling.
It is 1 million copies sold. Anyway,
that's heavily because of Nintendo marketing and all that. So
we really do hope that we see Tales on NX, and I'm sure that Baba will give the system a chance if it manages to sell well. But that's on Nintendo's end to do. They have to make sure they do a better job with it.
Yes, that's on Nintendo's end. People need to stop blaming other people for Wii U sales. Stop blaming other people. It's Nintendo's fault Wii U has not sold. It's 95% Nintendo's fault the Wii U is in the position that it's in right now. So
yes, that's absolutely what I've been saying all this time. Both Nintendo and third parties are at fault. Bad communication kills. No more of this ever.
Bad communication. Like the third party developers that I've spoke to have told me that the communication between Nintendo and the Wii U, at least with the Wii, developers got a very good idea that it was going to be basically a GameCube, but with the Wii U, the communication was the worst that they've ever seen. And I've heard that from various developers, the worst the worst communication that they've ever seen between a company, a platform holder, and third-party developers. The worst was the Wii U. So,
and I keep hearing these tales about how these developers hold a grudge against Nintendo.
There's no grudge.
Yes, seriously. If there was any grudge, it would have happened many years ago. I mean, we all know what happened between Square Enix and Nintendo way back in the N64 years. But here's the thing. Hiroshi Yamauchi is no longer in charge of Nintendo. Hisashi Suzuki is no longer in charge of Square Enix. The two titans who were basically hating each other, they're no longer at the company. So where the hell is this grudge that we're talking about?
Most of the employees that even worked for Square Enix at the time making Final Fantasy games worked for Nintendo.
Absolutely. So sorry.
Soft. So I mean, it's like everybody has moved on or changed. There's no grudge. If there's one grudge, if there is one grudge, I would say that it's Rockstar North against Nintendo. If there is a grudge, Rockstar North against Nintendo because of how Nintendo treated those employees, and a lot of those employees are still at Rockstar North, because why would you leave Rockstar North?
I don't know if they're going to succeed in getting Rockstar on NX, but I really would like to see them try again. It would be cool
to see them try. I would like to see Nintendo actually pay them money to make sure Grand Theft Auto. I would like to see that personally. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would want to see Nintendo do whatever they can to remedy the situation.
Sounds like your daughter's coming.
Yeah, she's crying here. So Jay, can you answer the next question, Jay?
I'll try. I'll try.
Can you see the app and you can answer it, right?
Yes, I'll try.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. From which third-party company would you like to see an exclusive game on NX, the only one? Good question. Let's see. I already mentioned that I would love to see an exclusive Tales from Namco, but as far as an original new exclusive comes from, good question. Let's see. Well, I would really love to see another Resident Evil, because I loved Resident Evil Revelations on 3DS. And let me see, what other big exclusive would I like to see? However unlikely that might be. I basically ran through all my ideas. I already said exclusive Resident Evil and new Tales. I'm out of ideas.
For me, third-party company exclusive game. If we're talking about Platinum Games, Bayonetta 3.
Oh yes, definitely go for it. Bayonetta 2 was amazing. Bayonetta 3 on NX. Go for it, Nintendo and
go
Platinum.
For it. Fund it. Go for it. And I think I was talking about this, I guess in the last podcast, but that engine, it's too good. It's that engine and the gameplay of Bayonetta. It's too good to let go. It's too good to let it just sink away.
Yes, definitely. Milk it. Do it, Nintendo.
Milk it. Definitely. They need to make sure they make a Bayonetta 3. Amazing graphics, 1080p 60 frames per second. Let's do it. Let's do this. All right. Next question comes from ZX Ride 64. Do you think Atlas will continue to be a strong supporter for Nintendo? Yes, of course. Especially if this portable NX system is all cracked up what it's to be, Atlas is probably salivating. Right? They are salivating right now. It turns out being that.
I do hope so. I would like to see them be a little bit more bolder in porting more of their franchises onto NX. Like Persona, I know a lot of people are really looking forward to Persona 5. It would be cool to see it released on NX.
It would be very, very cool. I mean, and I think the biggest thing for Nintendo to do, like with this NX system, it needs to be like a PS4. Like, I'm hoping that the architecture is really close. Obviously, it's going to have, I want it to have enhancements over PS4, but I really want it to be like, you can port a PS4 game in like no time. That's what I really want from it.
Yes, seriously. No more of this architecture excuse. But it's not even the architecture.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. That's part of it. It's part architecture. It's mainly budget, but it's architecture. It's budget and architecture just combining to each other with slow sales. It's a myriad of issues what causes third-party developers to not do things. Even Nintendo partners like Atlas to not make games, so.
Yeah, I think we basically covered that one right now.
Yeah, yes, but please, yes, Atlas. I do think that, yes, Atlas will be. Next question comes from Team Elite Bros, which is actually a really cool name. Which game do you want on the NX the most?
3 words. Kingdom Hearts 3. Do it.
Do it. Just do it. Where's Sheila LaBeouf first? Just do it. Yes. I would really, really like just a Xenoblade on the NX. That's what I want to see. That's the most anticipated that I want to see. I just want to see what Microsoft is working on. A Xenoblade game, that's what I really want. But if I were to go like third-party game that I know is already confirmed to be out, I really want Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's probably what I want the most outside of Nintendo's own IP. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. When I found out that they had put Cloud in Super Smash Bros., I was like, oh my gosh, that was something I so was not expecting.
Yeah, and not only that, but Cloud is really good in Smash Bros. Like,
oh, definitely. I played the stage.
Like,
it's really cool.
Cloud is like really good. I mean, I know a lot of people like to talk about like the meta as far as like one-on-one. Cloud is still good one-on-one. He's a high-tier character. But if you're playing like a 4-player match, Cloud is very like he's even better than most players. He is very good. Like he destroys most characters because of his range.
It's one of the best stages I've played in that game, period.
Yeah. Cloud is, and they made him really good. Like we cannot disappoint Square Enix. Mewtwo King himself is changing the meta for Cloud. I don't know if you guys have ever watched competitive Smash Bros. Watch Mewtwo King play as Cloud. Oh my gosh, like he's the only Cloud in the world. He is the greatest Cloud ever. Cloud hasn't even been out for more than a year. I mean, Mewtwo King with Cloud is just amazing. You should just see what he does. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next question here, though. But seriously, watch Mewtwo King play as Cloud if you ever get the chance. Next question comes from Etosis. I think that's what his name is. Do you think we'll ever see another Golden Sun? I hope so.
Me too. I hope so too.
Also, do you think Camelot will make another Mario Tennis after Ultra Smash? Probably. I feel that the game had an unfortunate fate of being a sacrificial lamb for the delays of Zelda and Star Fox. You're right about that. So I answered all those questions right there. JTurner, anything to add to that?
Oh, yeah. On top of that, the game was not even particularly well received. It did very poorly, if you remember. And to add insult to injury, guess which game outsold it that holiday season? That's right. It was Xenoblade X. It sold a lot more in America. It's a lot more than Mario Tennis ever did. So it really goes to show both Amiibo Festival and Mario Tennis, that was just lame. That was pretty dumb. That was a waste of time. No more stunts like that, please.
Please. I mean, like those games. I mean, the fact that they were making up for the delays, I guess, maybe. But yeah. Next question comes from the only one. The only one. Opinions of EVO 2016 roster. Amazing. You got 3 Nintendo games? Heck yeah.
Sorry, I didn't follow this one. I can't answer that question. Sorry.
I'll tell you. What do you feel about Pokken Tournament, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U all being at EVO 2016?
That's a pretty darn good combination, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. And you have like Tekken 7. You have Street Fighter 5. You have Guilty Gear XRD. Very good lineup of games. You have Killer Instinct.
Wow.
So yeah, it's stacked. And Super Smash Bros. Melee will be on the main stage on Sunday for the Championship Sunday. So yeah.
Okay. Well, good thing we've got 3 more questions right here. I think your daughter's getting a little antsy.
My daughter's getting real antsy. So we'll answer these 3. Personally, I want. Okay, so he's just talking about. He actually says personally, I want an IP from Retro Studios, something that will give the NX more Western game from a Nintendo studio. It mustn't be a copy of Uncharted or so, but more story / action focused. Your opinion? I say they bring back Raven Blade. That's my opinion.
Oh, definitely, for sure. If you want to have more credibility, then you definitely should try to get more games of that caliber. You don't want to just throw any niche titles on. Do it later when the system is bigger, not in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I do want to get to this question because this is a good one here. And there's another question from Mitosis talk about Lego Star Wars, but we're not going to answer that question because I don't want to talk about Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, me neither. No offense.
No offense to your question, but I don't want to talk about Lego or anything like that. Yeah. The Wii U, there's one thing the Wii U has. The Wii U has plenty of Lego games. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I do love Legos, generally speaking, but I just don't really invest time in those Lego games very much at all.
I can't. I tried to play the Lego games, man. I'm not the running animations, the combat, the sound effects. I can't do Lego. Like I tried to play like Lego City Undercover. I tried to like that game. I do like
it, but yeah, it's very.
I ended up just giving it away to to a user. Like I was just like, I don't even know where that user is anymore. But he was like, we were talking about Lego, and he was like, man, I really want the game, but I can't afford it. It was like, I guess it was a kid, and I was like, I can give you my copy. And he's like, sure.
All right, here's Team Elite Brothers with another question.
Yes.
Do you think Nintendo will have a stage conference this year? Answer: we hope so.
I hope so. I hope they do both. You know what I really like? a Nintendo Direct intertwined with a press conference, like a real like Nintendo Direct parts and also live stage conference parts.
Oh, that would be so amazing.
That solves everything because you have Reggie come out live on stage and say, hey, what is Kimishima have, or what does Monolith Soft have in Japan? And then all of a sudden it cuts to like the Nintendo Direct part and then back to Reggie.
That would be so amazing if they did.
That would be the best. That would be the best of both. You get the you get the organization and like the swiftness of a Nintendo Direct, but then you get the live press conference thing that people want more here. So, I mean, I think that would be the best thing to do. So, All right, so I mean that's all the questions that we're going to answer right now. I know there's a couple more, but my daughter's going to literally kick down this door like Resident Evil 4 style. I don't get on this podcast. Like she's straight going to double tap the action button, just kick this door down. So we're going to end it right here. So thank you to everyone who watched this podcast. We've been going for 2 hours. Oh no, it was an hour and a half.
A little bit longer, but a little bit shyer of 2 hours.
Yeah, a little bit shy. So I think that's a good time limit. So JTurner, you want to tell everybody where they can find you and your closing statements for this fan cast?
Well, I'm going to be putting my website about the anime English dub reviews right on this on the comment section on YouTube where you can find me. And we apologize for the delay. I mean, for the sound glitches that happened midway through. But if you want to hear my cool stories again, in case you missed them, definitely feel free to go back to the earlier part of the podcast where I talk about them. I really was not expecting it to happen, but it was really cool. But at any rate, I'm really glad that we finally had this third podcast. Really.
And we got some breaking news, not breaking news from Super Metal Dave, but he says that when I commented on his video about the NX and Zelda, he says I suggest putting aside $400. So
oh dear.
So he says he's about to be validated on NeoGAF to prove that his source is real. So
okay, well,
things are about to get really interesting. But anyway, that basically, my daughter's yelling at me now. So that basically wraps it up for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button on this video. Subscribe to Player Essence for all your news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks. And we're going to have pretty much podcasts or live streams every single weekend. Now that I got my own casa, I don't got to worry about neighbors. So we're going to be having that. It's going to be really cool. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. I would like to make Player Essence bigger. I mean, one of my goals is to get 10,000 subscribers by about E3. So if you guys can really help me out and share my content, whether it's on N4G or on other channels, that would be really cool, just so we can get the subscriber count up to 10,000. And I will be giving away, I'll announce it first here, I'll be giving away a brand new Wii U or Nintendo 3DS system once we hit 10,000 subscribers to a random user. I'll have a video talking about it. So yeah, so please subscribe, all that good stuff. And when I hit 10,000, I'll be giving that away. So yeah, that basically wraps it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys for the next Fancast. Peace out, y'all.
Goodbye.